So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are. On behalf of all of us at Celigo, I'd like to thank you for taking time to join us for today's platform update. My name is Dave Wallen. I am the Director of Platform Product Marketing, and I'm pleased to introduce you all to Adam Keys, our Director of Product Management. How are you today, Adam?
Doing well, Dave. Thanks.
Excellent. So we've got a full and exciting agenda for everyone today. But before we get into that, a couple of quick housekeeping items. The presentation is being recorded, and you'll receive a link to the recording in your inbox shortly after the session is over. If you have questions during the presentations, please enter them in the Q&A panel in your screen. I'll try to address relevant questions in context, but we have reserved time at the end for additional Q&A. So with all of that, Adam, are you ready to get started?
Ready to roll, Dave.
All right. So our goal here is not to repeat everything that you can read in the release notes, but to provide some color and depth around the new features and updates that will have the most impact for all of you, our user community. We've organized today's content into three major categories. First, there's new capabilities that'll make building integrations faster and easier. Then we'll look at enhancements to simplify management and updating of your integrations. And finally, improvements to platform security and governance functionality. We'll wrap up with a review of additional resources that Celigo provides, where you can learn more about the platform and engage directly with the product team. And then we'll start the Q&A. Anything you want to add there before we get into it, Adam?
Yeah, one thing I'll say is, a lot of the features you'll see today are directly, a result of customer feedback, various forms of feedback. So please, we encourage you to always submit your feedback. It definitely influences our roadmap, and you'll see some of those features today.
Awesome. So there have been some significant improvements to the platform to simplify and accelerate the creation and integration, including new features to make it easier to work with mock data and some significant enhancements to flow branching. But first, we're going to start with new connectors, right, Adam?
We are.
So we released a number of new connectors. Some worth noting include Sage Intacct, which is a leading accounting application, similar to ERP, but focused really on the accounting world. The popular content management and collaboration systems, Box and Dropbox. Datadog, which is a very popular monitoring and analytics tool for IT and DevOps teams. ZoomInfo, which is probably the leading data provider for CRM and HR organizations. And connectors for LinkedIn ads, Instagram ads, and demand-based ads. You can see the details on these as well as some other new connectors and release notes. But before we move on to new connectors, there are two that we want to spotlight, right, Adam?
We do, yes. So first connector here is the Oracle NetSuite Suite Analytics. This is a JDBC connected connector that will connect your NetSuite application, it will allow you to connect to your NetSuite Suite Analytics for data ingestion. You can simply create an export to extract data and load to your data warehouse as well. So the one thing you make note of here is you must enable on NetSuite your Connect service feature and your Connect permissions in NetSuite. The second one, which is pretty exciting, is OpenAI. You're seeing a lot of press now, obviously, on the market. The natural language abilities of OpenAI, we want to add those capabilities to I/O as well. So we've created an OpenAI connector. It's quite simple to install. Just basically enter an API key and you're up and running. And you can use standard features like chat, fine-tunes, edits, models, files, and many more. Dave, anything else you see here you want to update or add?
Nope, I think you covered that quite well. And of course, we've updated dozens of connectors. We've added API resources, version updates, or just simplified usage. We've highlighted a few on this slide, but again, you can get all the details in the release notes. So Adam, let's get into the real fun. What have we added to make it easier for users to create new integrations?
Oh, we've added a ton of new features, Dave. Thanks. Our first feature we'll go today, and again, I'm going to reinforce, a lot of this feedback came directly from customers. When you're walking through the roadmap with me, this is our first feature, direct feedback from our customers. The first one was downloading integrated I/O Postman collections. So the challenge has always been we offer a variety of different API, REST APIs, audits, connections, imports and exports. And users use Postman as a really common way to test those. But the ask was, hey, can you actually build a pre-built Postman collection, which we've done with this release. It's very simple to access. You just go into the help website. You can actually download it from some of the API endpoints. It downloads easily and imports into Postman itself. Just add and update your API keys and you're up and running with all the current available REST API endpoints we have. Our second feature is, again, direct feedback from our customers is mock data in flow steps. The common challenge or the common feedback we've had here is that as you're testing through steps, you always have to basically either update the application or change how the data feeds from flow bubble to flow bubble. Common ask was, can we not inject our own custom data, our own mock data into these steps? So the answer is now, yes, you can. We've added a feature to IO that allows exports and imports to allow you to enter your own mock data. That's simple to use. Just update the mock data you have and go ahead and run your flows. There are some limitations though. It can only use up to 10 records and a maximum of 1 meg databyte, 1 meg of data itself. Our next feature, again, direct feedback from our customers, was refreshing mock input data. So common use case is if something changes between flow bubble steps, can I actually easily import those changes into the next flow bubble? With this new feature, you can exactly do that. So the fetch latest input data means that any upstream flow bubbles that have data changes can automatically be imported into the current flow bubble you're in. Just easing the user journey. It makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot without having to exit out, go back, come back in, save the mock data. Next feature we have here is new iClient options in the resource menu. So first, an obvious question is, I assume much of the audience here have probably used iClients in some way, shape, or form. We require iClients for OAuth 2 integration. So it's a common way for us to store client IDs, client secrets. It's the way we actually authenticate your connection. The request here was, can you not make it a bit easier for us to manage this as a resource, which is now what we've done. So you'll see now on the resource page, iClients are now there. They're shareable resources. They can be used by multiple connections. It's more secure as well. It's a great new way to actually have all iClients managed in a single point in the IO platform. Our next feature is, again, another common request from customers was scripts, how we actually interact or deal with scripts between our production environments and our sandbox. Common use case there is you have the same scripts in both environments. And if you want to change one, it automatically affects the other one. Or if you want to have one version promoted, you have to always export it and import it to the other environment. So it was a way for us to actually separate out the scripts between environments so that one environment scripts do not impact the others. So this feature is now available for you to use. There was also a one-time migration that we executed that automatically took all the scripts from production and put those in Sandbox. But you will see them, if you go to the two different tabs on IO, you will see the scripts are actually separated now. They are not linked together. Next feature we have here is default to SuiteApps, SuiteScript 2.x for NetSuite. So NetSuite is winding down the SuiteScript 1.0 bundles. So they are no longer going to update them. They do support them, but they're not going to add any incremental enhancements to those. So we thought it would be good to default to the latest supported version of SuiteScript, which is what we've done here. You'll see that now within exports and imports and imports and lookups, we default now to the SuiteScript 2.x bundle, which we say here is recommended. You can still go back and access 1.0, but of course, NetSuite is encouraging everyone to migrate to the 2.0 framework. So that will be done by default for you. Additionally, when you actually install a NetSuite app, it defaults to install the latest version, the 2.x SuiteApps as well. Our next feature, the next three features are more around just general usability. We're actually putting a big effort this year on just general UX improvements, how to improve the UX experience for our customers, feedback from customers. We've also heard. Our first feature here was around just identifying which flows have mappings applied. So you'll see now in IO that in the mappings and the schedules, when there's an actual mapping or schedule applied, you'll see a little blue dot tag to it. That just means now that that particular flow actually has a schedule or a mapping applied to it. What you'll also see in Flow Builder is the same thing for a schedule. So if there's a schedule in a Flow Builder that's activated, again, you'll see that little blue dot. It's more, again, just a visual indicator to the user that these particular flows have mappings and or schedules. Next feature we have here is branching enhancements. So last year we did release branching. With the introduction of branching, we actually had turned off a feature that apparently a lot of customers really appreciated, which was moving flow bubbles with the drag and drop feature. So you could actually do it before the flow branching feature, but introduction of flow branching, actually we turned off that feature, but backed by popular demand, we've now reintroduced that same feature. So as of the latest releases, you'll now have the option to drag and drop flow bubbles from side to side. Also, what you'll see here is that with flow branching itself, we've actually now added an option to actually name your flow. So you'll see right above the top of your flow bubble, the first service in the branch, you can actually now name that branch. It's more just a visual indicator now of what that branch is doing in your overall flow. Next feature we have here is create flow while creating an integration. This was just some general feedback we had from the kind of collective community was generally when you're creating an integration, you're going to be creating a flow. It's not very few use cases where you're not immediately going to jump into building a flow. Feedback was, why not just introduce that straight into, the process, which is what we've done here. So you'll see the options now is you can actually create an integration from the IO homepage and also immediately create a flow. So again, just a general usability improvement. Takes away a little time that would have taken to go back and create a flow. Now you can do it all kind of as one collective process. Dave, any final thoughts around creating integrations?
No, I think this you covered it quite well. I mean, I know that this creating flow while you're creating integrations was huge. People found it very cumbersome to go back and forth. So being able to work in one area is tremendous. But if that's all we've got on creating integrations, we probably should look at managing integrations.
Absolutely.
Which has gotten easier. We've made a significant enhancement to error management, and there's a new homepage view option that will make it much easier for people to manage and organize their integration. So Adam, take it away. Let's show everybody.
Great. Thanks, Dave. So we have two features here. The first one is around additional integration details and error notifications. So everyone receives error notifications of some way, shape, or form between Sandbox, production environments, in your do-it-yourself flows, in your IA flows. We've tried to make it easier to identify exactly where the error is coming from. So you'll see now in the error emails you get or the error notifications, will identify certain values for you. For example, did it come from the Sandbox? Did it come from your production environment? Was it a integration, a do-it-yourself integration? It'll contain the integration name. If it was an IA, it will actually have the name of the integration itself. Again, just a general usability improvement. Takes away a little time having to research where exactly that notification came from. You can zero in right on where that error is. And our second feature is around the consolidated homepage selection for new items. Again, we're overall looking at UX, trying to find ways to improve our customers' experience. This is one of a number of features we have both delivered and are certainly having more as the roadmap. Just improve overall usability, less clicks for the user. This is one of our first features, was around just basically from the homepage, either the create option or the upload option. You'll now see options to go straight into flows, connections, or integrations. Again, a much cleaner view, takes away a few clicks. Usability wise, we think this is a far better experience for the user than what you've seen in the past. And Dave, anything you want to mention about managing integrations?
I think you've covered it. I think it's just always good that we continue to enhance our error management. Feedback we get from existing customers as well as when we start new customers or new prospects during the sales cycle. When comparing us against all the other alternatives, error management continues to come up as a key piece of functionality that we continue to enhance that makes Soligo better for them and why it's been a key choice for our customers. So always good to see more improvement there.
Great.
And we've made important, and we continue to make important improvements in security and governance because this sort of functionality becomes more and more important as people continue to use us in more and more areas of their business. We've done that, but we've also added a new way of calculating database endpoints that's going to provide our customers with more entitlement, right, Adam?
Absolutely, Dave. So that's our very first topic in this section is when determining database endpoints, only the host is taken into an account. So people who have used, or anybody who's actually done database connections via IO will have seen how we actually enforce a license. It's a combination of host plus database plus ports, or project ID plus data set. You do consume a few endpoint licenses when you have to connect to multiple databases on the same host. So we've actually revised or relaxed the policy for endpoint enforcement here by just taking the host or just taking the client email. I think customers will certainly find this useful. They'll now have more endpoints at their disposal as well for creating more database connections. I mean, Dave, I did hear one thing that you've mentioned, that we are somewhat unique in how we enforce database endpoints. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, database endpoints, but endpoints in general. When you compare us to a lot of competing solutions, they calculate endpoints, application endpoints as well as database endpoints, but each individual instance is a separate endpoint. So, as a very very common, commonly, especially say in Salesforce, people will have a development environment, they'll have their production environment, they'll have their test environment. They may have two separate instances for different divisions, and therefore they have 6, and that would be considered 6 endpoints for typical iPaaS solutions. We consider that one, no matter what's going on in Salesforce, and we wanted to simplify our way of counting endpoints in general. So we wanted to make sure that was aligned for databases as well as for applications. And that's really the driver here, is to make things simple, easy, and so that people know what their entitlements are. There's not a lot of confusion, and they have predictable pricing.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Which takes us to our second feature. Again, this is a customer requested feature. Retain your data for more than 30 days. So it's very common that basically the two use cases we keep hearing about is, one is I need to see what happens to my flows beyond 30 days. It could be something that's changed from month to month. Another common use case is just for audits. So I need to actually go in and have extended retention to actually track transactions for a variety of different audits, internal audits for GDPR, CCPA. Customers have a variety of needs for extended archives. We've done that here. So part of your license, and it's an add-on feature for your license, you can now extend your license. The default is 30 days, but you can go up to 180 days of archives for, audits, audit logs, history, that kind of stuff. Not your data itself, but the actual processing metadata. You can now have up to 180 days worth of data available for use to download to see some of your historical transaction processing. Which ties nicely into our second use case, again, from customers, is increasing the audit log view and download limits. So from the UI, we've always had a limit of 1,500 records. That was the cap. You couldn't see beyond that. You could page over at 100 records at a time, but once you hit 1,500, that was the extent to which you could actually see from the UI. And if you downloaded the same records, the cap was 1,000 records. So the ask here was, we have extensive processing. We now have these extended data retentions. I need extended data sets, extended views of audit data, which we've delivered here. So you can now see up to 20,000 records with this change. So it's great for, again, auditing purposes, historical tracking. Anytime, again, you have to go beyond 30 days, which is fairly common, that data is now here for you should you need it. Next feature we have here is around agent updates. So common feature, actually kind of common overall, is being able to automatically apply updates to these kind of on-prem modules. So anyone who has an on-prem agent, you have to install it in your local environment. And as of today, you have to basically kind of track the updates, collect the updates, deploy the update manually. We've simplified that process now with these new agents, where it'll actually automatically download and apply the updates to your on-prem agents. The only caveat here is you must download the latest on-prem agents to get this feature. But moving forward from that, all updates are done automatically for you. And our next and last feature here is account administrators can reset MFA for account owners. So we did introduce MFA last year. And again, based on customer feedback, sometimes the account owner gets locked out. And it's not trivial to actually unlock that account owner. They would actually have to contact Soligo's help desk to request that the MFA be reset. We've added a feature here that allows an account admin to actually unlock or reset the MFA on behalf of the account owner. So it's now much easier to manage your MFAs. You won't have to contact Soligo to do so. It empowers our users to kind of manage their environments and their security all on their own. Dave, anything else you want to cover off about security and governance I may have missed?
Yeah, I wanted just to clarify, because I have a question here about extending data retention. So data retention is past 30 days is only available for customers who are on the professional tier or above. And depending on your tier, you have a given amount of additional days of retention, and that can be extended, but it may require, depending on your licensing tier, there may be additional costs. So if that's something, if you need that or want that, if that's part of your compliance requirements, talk to your CSM or your client partner, and they can get you the details on that.
Great.
But that is all. That's all I have to add there.
Great, thanks, Dave. Any just general feedback on security and governance?
Security and governance is very important. And no, actually, so yeah, I mean, in terms of overall, as you'll see, you saw that a lot was released in this year, especially the retention there. We have been hearing from our customers, as they continue to use our platform for more automation and more data, improving their data quality and making use of their data, that there are more enterprise class requirements around security and governance. So this is definitely an area of significant investment for us. As we know that we've gone, for many of you, we're going from just a departmental solution to a broader solution across different parts of your business. That entails having greater ability to manage and report on the security and governance, that's capability, the ability, those audit requirements and all of those things. So we're going to continue to invest and expand functionality in that area. So it's always good to see more and more of that stuff.
Great, thanks, Dave.
So, a couple of things before we get to the Q&A. As we said in the beginning, this webinar is not meant to be an encyclopedic review of everything new and updated this spring. The place for that is our Help Center. That's where you can find the full release notes for every release and additional information on each of those features and updates, with links to articles with all the detail and you'd ever want. And if something requires media, sometimes, video demonstrations, those sorts of things are all part of our Help Center and part of our documentation. With regard to the release notes themselves, there's actually you click on what's new in the navigator bar in Integrator IO, and you're going to go straight to those release notes. So all the stuff that we talked about today. But these are only a small part of the Help Center. It includes our complete knowledge base and access to technical support. It also includes the community section, which is great if you've got a question that's more than like a simple how-to. If you're thinking about how to approach a unique problem and you're wondering if there's anyone else who's tried it and posted or discussed it, that's it. It's like our own little version of Reddit. Soligo University, right? That's there to provide tech-savvy business users and our IT developers with free online training. You can learn all you need to know to build, test, and manage integrations. You can attend live sessions. You can access the on-demand courses, or you can challenge yourself with comprehensive learning paths, and you can achieve certifications that go up to level 4. Before, during, or after certifications, anyone who's working on flows either if they're customizing a template or if you're creating a flow or integration from scratch. You can attend to get extra help during our office hours. Those are typically held weekly on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 11:20 Pacific time. And you can access the registration form from the help and feedback page in the Help Center. Did I miss anything there, Adam?
No, and you're dead on, Dave. It's like we have a variety of ways to take input. So office hours, I would definitely encourage our customers to go there. Office hours are fantastic. The team that attends those, super knowledgeable, super helpful. We do get feedback on the product side from office hours and some of that customer feedback. But again, we also have insights from the product portals but basically Zendesk help centers. We also get feedback there. So please, we encourage you to send your feedback in. Your feedback does help us validate our roadmaps, see what customers are asking for, voting on features. All these facilities allow us to kind of, on the product side, to evaluate where we want to invest our time, our resources, and provide features that our customers want.
All right. So if you're interested in what Adam just told you about, you can go to the Celigo product portal and you'll see the new features and enhancements that we're working on that are in that pipeline, or we're planning for the next upcoming releases. And you can submit your own ideas. You can vote on other people's ideas. You can add comments, and you can open the product portal from the navigation bar in Integrator IO. So before we move on to Q&A, is there anything else you'd like to add, Adam?
No, this is great. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone, for attending and participating in the event today. And I welcome your questions.
All right, so let's get some Q&A. So first, this is from the discussion on database calculations. Are endpoint calculations changed for REST HTTP and original REST endpoints?
That's a fair question. I actually don't have the answer for that one. We'll have to take that one offline and respond back to whoever their question was from. I don't have the answer right now, but we will get you that answer.
Okay, here's one. Is there or will there be an option that allows us to download large numbers of documents within a flow instance? I have a few situations where I need to download hundreds or thousands of documents to reprocess them. I would love to see a download which builds a zip file with the contents.
We do have download facilities in the core product, but yeah, there certainly is a limit on how much you can download. I think I've seen this as an insight before as well to actually handle large amounts of data for downloads. That is probably in our backlog right now, and it's going to be a great feature for the product to have. So we can't do it today, and not to what your extent is, but we certainly have it as an insight and a backlog feature, and we will certainly look at it again to see if we can't pull that in.
Okay, here's a question about the Postman collection. How do we access the pre-built Postman collections?
Oh, great question. So that's right from the help desk. If you log into the help desk, and actually I can probably, should I go live, Dave, or are we able to
Sure.
do one?
If you're crazy enough to do that.
Let's do that. So our Postman collections are stored right within the product itself, the help desk itself, called integrated APIs. If you actually look at the APIs we have, and you'll see as you go into the APIs, there's an option to download straight from the site. So once you download it, it goes down to your local screen, and you can upload those directly into Postman.
All right. Here's an error management question. Any plan to send error notifications on certain flow steps and not for the overall flow? For example, if a flow had 3 steps, but I only want to send notification on just the last step, is that possible?
As it stands today, I believe that is not a current capability, but I will check in with my error management team. So, because that could be a feature enhancement we've either logged or you should log, but I'm not aware if that's a current feature.
Yeah. And if it's not, they can add that on the product portal.
Absolutely. Please add as an insight.
Okay, let's see what's some other one here. Is OpenAI able to integrate with Miva? And what kinds of things are able to integrate with OpenAI into Miva?
I've not heard of MIBA, but it really what we operate.
MIVA, I haven't heard of it either. So
Yeah. I can't address that specific question, but we do integrate with just the OpenAI site itself. So it's a vanilla OpenAI connector itself.
right. So if whatever Viva is, if there's a connector, and there's a connector to OpenAI, and it's whatever it's still a data flow like any of our data flows, any of our connections. So you would build the flows between those two.
Correct.
Okay, here's another one. You mentioned in your SuiteApps script 2.x, you're deprecating the use of Suite Bundle SuiteScript 1.0. When do you plan to do that?
Yeah, good question. So we are planning to deprecate it, but there is no timeline, at least for 2023. But again, NetSuite is deprecating the use of SuiteScript 1.0. We are trying, and Suite Bundles overall are not as easy to manage as SuiteApps. So we're going to encourage our customers to migrate over. We'll provide some guidance, and we'll actually publish dates for an actual deprecation date. But there is nothing planned right now for 2023 to deprecate Suite Bundle 1.0.
Okay. Does the NetSuite Analytics Connector support the NetSuite.com and the NetSuite2.com service data source?
We'll have to take that one offline. I am not sure, but we will take your question and get you feedback. I can't answer that question directly myself. I'd have to tax one of my PM colleagues.
Okay, here's one. Are there any plans to have a local storage area within IO to save records for archive, future lookups, etc.?
There are plans to have extended lookups. Not so much, at least to what I'm aware of, we don't have local file storage, but extended table lookups. We are investigating that right now. I can't say when it will come, but we're going to certainly look at it because a number of customers have asked for it. So again, having local table lookups is something we will definitely consider or are considering. I just don't have a date right now when we'll make that available.
Yes, and just to storage is a sticky wicket, right? Because one of the things about Celigo is we do not store your data for any longer than it takes to do the processing, and that it allows us to meet many compliance requirements. If we were to start storing data, that would create a level of complexity that would also impact a lot of the other things we're doing. So that is something it is being explored as a long-term option, but it's not something that could be easily done, and that's why it's kind of a longer-term discussion. But super good question there.
Yep.
Okay, would love a run next option for flows you want to run immediately. A lot of times we have 20 plus flows that are queued in Shopify going to NetSuite where we'd like to run something and bypass the queue.
Yeah, that's a great feature. That's a great idea, actually, just a way to kind of get in front of the queue. Customers, I kind of heard this before in the past. I don't have a backlog feature for it, I believe, but it's a great feature to actually pull in for the product. So I'd say we'll take your feedback, but again, feel free to add an insight. I think this is a valuable feature to add to the product.
Okay. Do you plan to deprecate the mapping 1.0 one day?
Well, we are certainly looking to improve our mapping functionality, and Mapper 2.0 is our plan. So we are going to put all of our investments in Mapper 2.0. We have no plans right now to deprecate Mapper 1.0. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but right now there are no plans to change Mapper 1.0 or deprecate it. But I can say is our investment will certainly be in Mapper 2.0. Any new features will be in Mapper 2.0.
Can you apply different data retention policies to different flows or integrations?
Great question. Today, no, but it is a common ask. Is there a way to actually say I want invoices stored for a certain amount of time or different data flows? No, we can't do it today, but it's certainly a great feature we could pull in and utilize. I could see that use case, and perhaps certain flows need certain retentions where other ones do not. So it's a great feature, and we'll certainly take that into account if we want to add that feature to the product.
Will there be a homepage UI enhancement that allows creating a folder structure to house multiple integrations along with their individual flows?
It's certainly possible. I mean, we would have to consult our UX team. Like, we are making a ton of enhancements right now from the UX perspective. This sounds like a feature we could certainly explore. And it could be a great feature for our customer base. So what I would say is adding that as an insight. We'll take that feedback and see if we can't add it into the product. So maybe sometime this year or next year.
Another UI question: are there any plans to hide flows that are not currently active or being used?
Again, a great idea for a use case. Not aware of a current backlog item for that, but again, if you add that as an insight, we will certainly take that into consideration for our backlog for just general UX improvements. Again, we are spending a lot of time and energy on UX. So yeah, please submit those insights. We will take those and try to get those in the product.
Is there a way I can use flat files directly from my local computer instead of going to FTP locations? It helps to do tests when we start building flows.
As of right now, no. Mock data might be the easiest way to do it, though that's not what you're looking for. But I know what you're asking for. A local drive access point. We don't have it today. Again, what I would say is we can add that as an insight, but it's a super handy feature. I see why you want to use it. You want to test something locally with your local data. Yeah, today the only way you can do it is via FTP, or again, just with the mock data option, which we did introduce. Mock data might be a way you could do that short term until we have such a feature available.
Do we have option to set notification to send immediately, or wait to set the frequency of the flow connection notification?
I've heard that the error management team, I have heard this request. I don't know where it is on the roadmap, but again, I would certainly add that as an insight. It has come up in discussions. I don't know exactly where or when it might be released, but it's a good feature to have. Again, I would certainly add that as an insight.
Well, will you put together a help center article on updating flows from SuiteScript 1.0 to 2.x?
Yes, that will be coming as we look to deprecate and then really promote NetSuite SuiteScript 2.x. Yes, absolutely. You will see a KB article for that.
With the OpenAI integration, would customers be able to write questions on our website and it will write out answers to it? Is there specific coding that would need to be done on our website for this as well?
Yeah, it's a really interesting integration question. I would love to be able to answer it for you today. I don't know if I can, but I would assume there will be very creative ways with OpenAI to handle such use cases, though I cannot personally say we've handled such use cases, at least what I'm aware of. But with OpenAI, we have tons of opportunities for these types of use cases.
Okay, I'm just taking a look here. We've got a question that's more of an integration app thing. Is that something you can handle?
Go for it. Yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
You can answer it, or I can punt and get you a response offline.
Okay, so then the integration app Shopify NetSuite has been updated to handle the new fulfillment API from Shopify, and some dummy errors talking about payloads are showing up when the order is already fulfilled and fulfillment flow runs. Is it planned to automatically ignore these types of errors? More generally, is it possible to allow ignoring certain errors with integration apps?
Well, I think overall, we're looking to improve error management. Like, we are actually looking to invest more in AI within our own products, how we develop flows, how we improve error management. I think these are things we could tackle as the product improves to kind of auto resolve or make error management easier. This particular error, I can't speak to if we could address that, but overall, we are looking to make error management easier for our customers to maintain. For this error here, if you'd want, you can either submit that through, customer support, or if you want as an insight, if it's a feature enhancement you'd like us to consider for a future release.
Okay, here's a related question. The latest Shopify API version on the connection drop-down list is 2023-01. When will the later API version be supported?
Again, I'd have to take this one offline because I don't have an answer for you today, but we will certainly take this and try to get a response back to you to address your question.
Okay, so I think we're at that time. We've hit all the major questions. Adam, anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, again, I really appreciate the feedback. Your feedback is welcome. All the feedback you have will just help us, make a better product. So please continue to submit your insights, ask your questions. The feedback is welcome, and we think that your feedback will help us define our roadmap. So again, thank you very much for your feedback and just for attending today.
Yep, and the product teams will, Adam will work with the teams to get answers to those questions we didn't have for you today. So with that, thanks everybody for your time. Please connect with us on the portal where you really can, you can engage in these sort of conversations regularly. And thanks for being the best customers in the world.